So is it worth getting Founders Pack? It's a bit pricey for me, so I'm skeptical. Miguel, if it's worth it or not, only you can answer that one. The whole Founders Packs are based on FOMO, right? So the fear of missing out. If you want to make sure you're gonna get yourself, what was it? Kairos Heroic Kairos, which is kind of like the same way Digital Extreme treated the Excalibur Prime, then yes, go for it. I feel like there's a good game buried underneath all of the issues. The core game I feel is good and hopefully it will have a future, but there's no way I can guarantee you that. 4,000 pros should take, by my estimates, about 25 to 30 minutes, judging by how long it took yesterday. So I'm going to be taking this time to give you my thoughts on Wayfinder, and we're going to be using gameplay from yesterday. So hey guys, welcome back. As always, my name is Leyzar and I'm gonna give you my honest, down-to-earth opinion of Wayfinder Early Access. Though do bear in mind, I have played in the closed beta as well, when some of these issues, or better said, most of these issues were not an actual issue. So let's talk about the actual experience. Right now, unfortunately, there are huge logging queues, which kind of stilted the whole experience for most players that bought into the Early Access. You cannot get access to the game unless you buy an early access pack, and the minimum price is 20 bucks. It goes all the way to 150, and you're going to be getting yourself some very interesting rewards that will only be available during the early access with these founders packs. In 2024, the game is set to go full on free to play. The game has been out a couple of days on early access, and unfortunately, ever since then we have been facing massive logging queues, which led to the game being review bombed over on Steam. But you need to understand that most of these negative reviews have really nothing to do with the game per se, outside of the huge logging queues. And I'm not trying to excuse this, but it's not an actual review per se if you didn't really get to play the actual game. While I understand the frustration, being a part of it myself, since I had to wait, I don't know how much, 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours, something crazy like that, in order to get into the game. And in case you didn't like the character that you did the tutorial with and you wanted to select another one, you get booted out of the game and then back into character selection, which means another logging queue. And that happened to me as well, which, yes indeed, caused great frustration. So again, I do understand where you're coming from. However, I'm gonna be limiting myself to talking about some other issues that the game has and the actual gameplay experience. They have packs that you can buy for $20, and for $20 you're going to be getting yourself 1100 arbitrary points. Unfortunately, the weapons cost $11.50, and that caused also some outcry within the community. Ever since then, regarding this issue, not only this issue but also the refund issue, essentially you bought the game, you sat in a queue for a couple of hours, and then Steam tells you, hey, you can't refund this, you've been playing for a couple of hours, but wait, you didn't. Digital Extremes and Airship Syndicate released a joint statement saying that they will take care of the login problems, they will take care of the servers, they will be trying to take care of the people that want a refund, and of course of the whole monetization packs, the whole point packs. Hopefully they're gonna increase the value so you actually get the full amount for at least a weapon. Though that one I feel is a bit more inexcusable, simply because they knew exactly what they were doing when they priced that $20 pack at 1100 points, but the weapons cost 1150. That was a dick move, and I'm thinking they just tried to get away with it, and when we called them out on it, we're gonna fix it, which is definitely not okay. Those are the major negative points regarding the early access experience. Now we're going to be focusing more on the actual game, and I'm going to have to play some footage from yesterday. What you also got to bear in mind is that I received all of my packs, my founders packs and everything free of charge from the developer, as I am a content creator. Unfortunately for me, I was not able to generate a whole lot of relevant content because, well, I couldn't play the damn game. Gameplay-wise, I was a bit disappointed in the sense that the gameplay is both floaty and stilted at the same time, and I know it's weird to use both of those descriptions in the same sentence, but it's simply the way the combat actually feels. This was a big surprise to me, considering that the studio, I'm talking about Airship Syndicate, is led by Joe Madureira, and if you never heard of Joe Mad, he's an absolutely amazing artist. He was the design lead on the Darksiders projects, games which I absolutely loved, and games which were spectacle fighters. Games that played absolutely amazingly, so I was expecting something like that. Now granted, this is an MMO, those were single player experiences, RPGs, but still, I expected a whole lot more than this. Unfortunately, the combat isn't all that fantastic, but for an MMO, I'm willing to let it go. There's some impact to the whole combat and the blows, and most of my gameplay time was spent on Windgrave. There is something, a little bit of heft and a little bit of weight to it, but nothing on the level of Darksiders, nothing on the level that I would hope a game like this would have. So I will only be speaking to the solo experience, which for me was pretty smooth. I didn't encounter major bugs outside of one. I had to fight a big spider boss, which I fought several times in the beta or the alpha, whatever was it called. And at a certain point, it decided to go. It ran and left me alone. At which point, I had no option but to leave the actual dungeon because there was no way for me to progress. So there's that to bear in mind. Obviously, bugs like this are lots of them, and also the AI isn't overly fantastic. I think I'm gonna paste you a little bit of a footage where essentially I was waiting for an archer to hit me and jumping back and forward before it decided to actually try and hit, and well, it missed. You missed. Try again. Nice try, guy. You still fucking missed. I wonder how long it will take for this NPC to kill me, this enemy to kill me, if I just do nothing. If at all. Looks like Rhino. Okay, she hit me there. See guys? She hit me. I was hit by the enemy. Another thing which I want to talk about is the actual performance of the game, and even though this is early access, I feel like this needs to be tackled. Even on RTX 4080, the game struggles to run smoothly, especially when you're gonna be in a hub town such as Skylight. In missions and the open world, it does fine if you want to keep 60 FPS, but even now at 60 FPS and my RTX 4080 sits at about 80%, which is a tad on the weird side. Not even Diablo 4 does this, and that one juggles resources like nobody's business. Needless to say, the optimization right now for the game isn't all that fantastic, but normally in dungeons you're not really gonna have much of an issue with it. Another key aspect would be the whole waypoint system that the game has. I feel like Digital Extremes had something to do with this. You got this little points on the map, these yellow dots, and unfortunately these yellow dots are very confusing because they lead you to, you don't even know what they lead you to. There's no indication regarding on the yellow dot, hey, what quest is this? Is it a main quest? Is it a side quest? And if it's a side quest, which of the damn side quests is it? You gotta open up the map, look at your quest, and then you still don't understand because it still doesn't tell you exactly which is which. This feedback was offered to the developer, from what I know, several times during the alpha, and they still haven't done anything about it. This is still, however, in its, early access stages, so I'm expecting a fix to this because honestly, it feels like it's a 1999 game. You can do better than that with a waypoint system. You need to have clear indications regarding, hey, where am I going and what am I doing? Not only that, you open up the map and there's no legends there. Nothing tells you, hey, this is the blacksmith, this is the enchantress, this is the whatever. There's no labels indicating exactly what is what, just these arbitrary icons that you're supposed to know. Again, obviously this is an early access stage and I expect all of them to have proper legends and proper explanations as the game develops further. And here is what I was talking about earlier. You see you got 3 waypoints, one 100 meters, 172 and 230. It needs to have some sort of indication which is which. It doesn't. Maybe different icons, maybe names on top of them. No, names would be silly on top of them. Something. You know what's worst is the fact that I remember explicitly that I offered, and I wasn't the only one that offered feedback regarding the waypoint system that this one is using. This was a cause for concern both for me and my friends while playing. But it looks like they didn't have the time, or they just simply didn't care enough about this particular aspect so far. So last time we had like 4,000 bros and it took half an hour. 6.5 thousand bros would take you about 45 minutes, and usually my estimates were correctly. So we're going to be doing a recap or a final conclusion on the Q screen. Wayfinder to me is a very interesting game. Wayfinder to me is a game that I want to succeed because it evokes old school sentiments like World of Warcraft used to for me back in the day. Will it be the same for you? Probably not. Can I recommend it in early access? God no. How can I recommend something like this? You pay to sit in a queue. That is the honest truth. You can sit a while longer or shorter depending on when you try to actually log in, and I recommend you try to do it in the morning when people are at work. So you get only 30 to 45 minutes worth of queue time, but no, I cannot recommend something like this to you right now. After they fix at least the login issues, absolutely, go for it. It is fun, it is enjoyable, and it does have issues, but it has issues which are similar to a lot of other early access titles. So when you're buying early access, you need to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. It is my honest hope that this game will succeed in time. It is my hope that it'll only have a rocky start, and it definitely has a very rocky start, and hopefully it will change its trend from downwards to upwards. For the current time, I believe there is a good game buried underneath all of the crap, and hopefully in time we'll see that good game emerge from underneath the crap. But for the time being, it is what it is. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, my name has been Leyzar. It is my honest hope that this was useful to you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And yes, I do fully intend to follow along with the development of Wayfinder. I do intend to keep on playing it, and I will hopefully bring you updates as long as time permits. I'll catch you guys next time.